During the Cold War, NASA spent millions of dollars designing a pen that could write in zero gravity. They engineered a marvel, a pen that could work upside down in sub-zero temperatures in the vacuum of space. And the Russians, they used a pencil. I think about that a lot. How we do the same thing when we speak. We over engineer our words like we're building rockets. We craft the perfect sentence, polish the vocabulary, all to deliver an idea into the orbit of someone's mind and still miss the point. Today, I want us to interrogate the gaps between our thoughts and our tongue to figure out why clarity keeps slipping through the cracks, because this isn't a momentary glitch in our speech, it's a pattern, a silent decay of meaning that happens every time we open up our mouths without knowing how to carry the weight of our own thoughts. We think we're being clear because the idea made sense in our head, but that's the trap. What feels sharp internally often bleeds out its meaning when spoken aloud, and if we don't fix this, we'll keep living in a world where the most important things that we have to say die on the way out, and what's left is a watered down expression of our thoughts. There are things that I've said in passing, half awake, unscripted, that people still quote back to me 10 years later, and then they're the speeches. They're carefully crafted phrases that I spent hours decorating that vanished the moment that I said them. Through this, I realized something that many people have missed. And this revelation is the first sin that we must confront if we want to articulate our thoughts effectively. We think we're good communicators, but the honest truth is we're not. And because we don't believe we're bad at it, we don't put in the work required to get better. Let me illustrate what I mean. AI has access to all the information in our galaxy. Every book, every quote, every journal, every lecture. This is a literal universe of knowledge right at our fingertips. And yet, you've probably asked it to do something simple and it gets it completely wrong. It's not because AI is dumb. It's because your prompt wasn't clear. Frankly speaking, it sucked. If you, a fully conscious, intelligent human being, can't get your thoughts across to a machine designed to understand language with surgical precision, what makes you think that the humans in your life can? Maybe our words didn't carry the meaning that we think they did. You see, the gap between what we mean and what we say is where all misunderstandings reside. We struggle to communicate with machines because we haven't yet learned how to communicate with one another. We assume that the message was delivered because we said it, but language doesn't work like that. It doesn't flow perfectly like a stream. In our head, the meaning feels pristine, as clear as still water, but by the time it flows through our lips, it leaks. There's turbulence in our ideas, dripping pieces of meaning through the cracks that we didn't know were there. And what arrives at the other side isn't what we meant. It's what survived the journey. We live in a world of turbulent waters. You may think you're being clear, but clarity isn't measured by what you say. It's measured by what your audience takes with them. That's why you can say one thing and someone hears something else entirely. If our words struggle to survive outside our thought bubble, then maybe it's just air floating around our head pretending to be an idea. Hold on to that, because there's a metaphor in it. If you've ever walked away from a conversation thinking, that's not what I meant, then you already know what I'm saying. You already know what it feels like to have the right feeling, the right idea, and still somehow miss the mark. Our words are only clear when the mind that's delivering them knows exactly what it's trying to say. But most of us don't. We speak to figure it out. We talk our way through the fog, hoping that the other person sees the shape of our ideas through the mist. This is the cost of untrained expression, and it's what separates people who get misunderstood from those who gets remembered. And the cruel irony is the more pristine something feels in our mind, the more sure we are that it was received perfectly. But I digress. So, what can we actually do about all of this? Well, the fact that you're still here, listening and breathing in these words with me tells me something about you. Something within you knows that this matters. And if that's true, congratulations. You're already ahead of 60% of people, because the first step to solving a problem is admitting that you have one, and the first step to becoming a better communicator is to admit, plainly and honestly, I'm not a great communicator yet. And I want to applaud you because you have sat with the discomfort of knowing that the gap between what you mean to say and what you say is costing you something. And you're not alone in that gap. I want to illustrate something. We think because we can talk, we can communicate, but that's a fallacy. Talking is cheap. It spills from us like water from a broken faucet. Communication, on the other hand, is deliberate. It's water that's channeled, focused, and pressurized until it cuts through the mental fog of our listener's mind. You can talk all you want and still say nothing. You can flood a room with words and yet everyone is still thirsty. But one sentence, if spoken with intention and conviction, can last for a lifetime. I want to show you what I mean. Earlier this week, a few friends came over. We're just talking, joking, catching up. And out of nowhere, one of them brought up a poem that I performed nearly a decade ago. It's a poem that I hadn't thought about or performed in years, but what shocked me, what genuinely left me silent, is that he started quoting it word for word, line after line, punchline after punchline, from something that I said almost 10 years ago. And then another friend joined in, laughing at the same lines, finishing my metaphors before I could even remember them. I sat there flabbergasted because I never expected my words to live and take root that long in someone else's mind. That experience made me realize something. We all have that same potential to say something that doesn't just sound good for the moment, but lodges itself in memory, something that gets passed around, repeated, and remembered. If you want to speak in a way that echoes, not just for minutes, but for years, let me show you how. I want to equip you with two tools that changed everything for me. The first is a simple process that you can embark on to force your ideas into clarity. Through this, you're removing the fog and tracing the shape of your mind with your pen. It's writing. You see, writing helps you to see your mind on paper. It's the first step to understanding yourself. It helps you to see the chaos and it forces you to sit down with your own ambiguity and carve meaning from the noise. Most people don't say the wrong things, we just say unclear things. 5 minutes of reflective writing a day can sharpen your clarity more than 5 hours of conversing. Your words are a mirror, not of what you know, but of how well you've organized it. A cracked mirror still reflects something, but the image is always scattered and disorganized. Most of us try to speak in order to figure out what we think. I urge you to reverse that. Write first. Write enforces clarity. It slows the mind down long enough to untangle it. Even 5 minutes of effective writing a day will train your ability to organize your thoughts in straight lines so they don't stumble when they reach your tongue. Because you can't speak with structure if your thoughts are swerving like a drunk driver. Every sentence veering off course, slurring through coherence, every idea crashing before it reaches its destination. I'm pretty sure I butchered that analogy, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. The second tool that I want to equip you to add to your toolbox is the one sentence summary. After every idea that I explain, after every thought that I unravel, I ask myself a hard pressing question. Can I say all of this in one unforgettable sentence? You see, anyone can ramble, anyone can talk around an idea, but few can distill it. The one sentence summary is your pressure test. You see, most people think clarity is about stacking more words, but clarity doesn't come from addition, it comes from precision. The tighter your sentence, the sharper your thinking, and the more compact your idea is, the more explosive it becomes. Think about it. Every idea that ever changed your life was probably one sentence long. You didn't remember the whole speech. You remember the one line that cracked something open inside of you. So here's what I do. After I've explained something, whether I'm writing, speaking, or thinking, I force myself to find the one sentence, the one that carries the full weight of the idea without collapsing. It's not always easy. Sometimes I stare at the screen for 10 minutes. Sometimes I stare for 10 days, but when I find it, when the idea clicks into place, I know that I have something that's worth saying. That sentence becomes my anchor, my clarity checkpoint, my North Star. It becomes my compass when the conversation gets cloudy, because when you haven't found the sentence, you haven't yet found the idea. And when you find it, that phrase becomes the thing that the quote, the punchline that they repeat 10 years later when you're no longer in the room. Before we depart, I want to leave you on this note. The clearest voices aren't the loudest. They're the ones who take the time to listen to their own thoughts before asking the world to. My dear friends, spending this time with you has been my absolute pleasure. Thank you for watching.